ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saturday Movie Night. The date today is Saturday, June the 27th, 2020, 7:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello to my level 2 and 3 patrons. Not all of my level 2 and 3 patrons, but those of you that were able to make your way into the chat room this evening. Tabitha Shore, Dia Maria, Matthew Ferresi. I think I'm saying that right. We got, who else we got here? We got Jason Nike here and Corey Dean and Andrew L. Everybody's making their way in here. Hey, if you're watching after the fact and you're not catching this live, this is Saturday Movie Night. This is a level 2 and 3 exclusive, level 2 and 3 to my Patreon exclusive only for the live show. And then it kind of goes up onto my channel for everybody to watch after the fact. Now, if you want to have an opportunity to get to vote on what movie we watch on the last Saturday of every month, which is what this is, you have to be part of my level number 3. But if you're part of level number 2, you get to join in the festivities when we watch the movie, and that's what we're doing. So this happens once a month here. It's kind of like a 2 dudes and some bullshit, but it's a 1 dude and some water. And this month's theme was 90s horror movies. And so I put up a few horror movies, a couple that Darren Sands sort of recommended as well in the McRae Facebook page, which is exclusive to my patrons only. It doesn't matter which level you choose, 1, 2, or 3. You will have access to the exclusive Facebook page for patrons only. And I think I had Scream on the list. I had Shocker on there, Breakdown with Kurt Russell. I mean, that's not really a horror movie, but, you know, it's a thriller. It's a thriller. What else did we have on there? I forget what we had on the list. Let me see here. What else did we have on the list? We had, ladies and gentlemen, we had Scream, Misery from 1990, Breakdown, Shocker, 7, In the Mouth of Madness, 6 titles, but Scream won out, and it was really no contest. Scream won out. I have to admit, I was pulling for maybe Misery or Breakdown or Shocker. I was kind of pulling for, but Scream is here. It's Scream. Scream is the one that we are going to watch tonight. So I am watching it now. For those of you that may not know, this is not a director's commentary. I'm not here to give you, really deep-seated analysis. I'm not Wes Craven. I did not make the movie. I'm not going to sit here and dive deep into the intricacies. Sometimes I know a movie really, really well, and I can do that, and other times I don't know the movie all that well. Scream, I'm kind of in the middle. I know the movie fairly well. But certainly, this is just friends hanging out, watching a movie on a Saturday night. So if that's something, and it's the last Saturday of every month, so if that's something that interests you, check out my Patreon. It is in the link in the description. So I am watching this off iTunes because I do not have a digital copy of it. I'm still a physical media guy. So I am watching it off iTunes because YouTube does not have it available to rent. So that's where I am watching it. And this is the original Scream from 1996. This is the movie that single-handedly revigorated. I don't want to say reinvented per se, although it kind of did to some degree, but it's not like every movie that came after Scream was sort of self-aware and spoofy like Scream, although some of them did have the Scream vibe a bit. Nonetheless, it certainly revigorated the slasher subgenre of horror. So I am ready to go. Are you guys ready to go? Let's do this. So where am I here? Bring this up. I am 1 second in on iTunes. Now, what is about to come up is the logo for Alliance Atlantis, the now defunct Canadian company Alliance Atlantis. So I think if you're watching it on, it's free on Tubi. Oh yeah. I should check into that. Well, hey, you can watch it there too. All right, let's do this. I've hit play. Let's see here. Okay. Alliance Atlantis. And then hang on, I'll let you know when sort of it's really beginning here. Okay. Now it says Dimension Films is coming up onto the screen. Dimension Films is coming up. Dimension Films is on the screen right now. It has faded away. And then scream, and you white, and then it turns red. And now the phone is ringing, and Drew Barrymore is picking up the phone. Of course, as we've mentioned many times, Drew Barrymore, she is sort of the, I mean, not exactly, but she is sort of the Janet Leigh of this movie, in the sense that you expect, you think, because she was a bona fide star. I mean, at this time, she was, America's sweetheart. If she was in a movie, she was essentially leading the film. So it was sort of strange to have her in the movie and killed off. Now, I believe she was originally tapped to play Sidney Prescott, if I'm not mistaken. But I forget the story around that. The Screamheads can fill me in, but certainly that did not come to be. I think that was the case. Anyway, nonetheless, the opening here is great because they kill her off. And again, in Psycho with Janet Leigh, she's in the movie for about 45 minutes, half of that movie. What was shocking about Janet Leigh's death was not just that Janet Leigh, a star that could carry a film on her own, but what was shocking about that was for its time. I mean, 1960, to see a starlet like Janet Leigh, you've heard me say this many times, murdered in such a horrific way. Again, this is 1960 we're talking about. Psycho, the first North American movie to show a toilet flush, that's where we were in the world in terms of movies, folks, was just, oh my God. It was more about that than it was her exiting the film unexpectedly, although that was sort of part of it. But this is kind of that vibe, You're expecting sort of her to stick around longer than she did. Now she's on the phone here with Ghostface, not paying attention to the popcorn popping like that. Has anybody ever made popcorn like that on the stove? I never have. Anybody? Going once, going twice, gone. Jason Ike says, this is a great opening. It is a great opening. Oh yeah, it was a great movie. It was taking what it was essentially, I don't want to say reinventing the slasher subgenre, because again, it doesn't, Scream didn't spawn a bunch of imitators. Scream spawned new life into the slasher subgenre, but they weren't necessarily Scream imitators, if you know what I mean. Whereas Halloween and Black Christmas and, they spawned, imitators, right? I mean, Friday the 13th was essentially Halloween, but at a campsite. I mean, again, folks, nuance here, people, nuance. But certainly it was all, killers chasing teenagers, right? This was sort of just breathing new life into the genre. And then, of course, Scream 2 in 97, Scream 3 in 2000, Scream 4 in 2011. But this definitely re-energized the slasher subgenre in the mid-90s. And you had, of course, Scream, but you had followed by I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legends, or Urban Legend, I think maybe it's singular. You had, Scream 2, there was a Halloween H2O. There was a handful of them. Crazy indeed. Darren Sand says, it is a superb opening. I remember watching it in the cinema and thinking, oh my God, slasher movies are cool again. It's true. Yeah, it was great. And then you had I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was, I Know What You Did Last Summer was fine. It was different. It had, it was fine. The second one was garbage. Urban Legend was, it's just kind of standard, Halloween H2O. This really is the best horror movie of the revitalization of the slasher subgenre. It didn't last very long. I mean, by the year 2000, it was gone. It was very fleeting. It was like just a second wind. It was like an aftershock. The slasher subgenre essentially died in about 1988, 89 is where it really started to die. Now, I know they did have, of course, Child's Play in 88, Candyman in, I think, 91 or something. But by the time Candyman rolled around, although Candyman is a pretty good movie, by the time it rolled around, the slasher subgenre was essentially dead. I mean, the golden age of slashers is from about 78 to 85 or 86, I usually like to say. Throw a couple of Elm Streets in there. And then by the time 87 rolled around, it wasn't dead, but that was when it was starting to make its turn, right? It was starting to kind of go like this. By 87, it was starting to make its turn. It wasn't going in that fresh new direction. It was starting to make that turn. And then by the time you get to like 90, 91, it's just dead. You know what I mean? It's dead. And then when 96 came around, it was almost like a last sort of, it's like if there's somebody like the killer is dead, right? In a movie, and you think he's dead, and then all of a sudden he goes, ah! and then he dies again. It's like the one final push, one final, kind of encore there with this, because although, like I said, we got a few movies in and around this that were serviceable, this really was sort of the breath of fresh air, as Darren was saying. And that was really it, because nothing really followed Scream that did it, because it was fleeting. I mean, it was about 96 to 99, and that's it. Like really at the end of the day, 96, 97, 98, and 99, and then you're kind of, it's over again. I mean, by the time we get to Halloween Resurrection in 2002, the slasher subgenre is once again dead. It just is. And Scream 3 wasn't all that great. So, it really was sort of just kind of a final push with the last couple of years there of the decade. Drew Barrymore is hiding in the corner by the television now. I had a TV like that. Like we all did. I mean, Jesus. She's hiding there. Good old Drew Barrymore. Good old Drew Barrymore. What is she doing now, anyway? I wonder what she's doing. Corey Dean says, Dave, have you ever seen The Following with Kevin Bacon? The Following with Kevin. I think I have. Yes, I think I have. If I think it's the movie I'm thinking of. Andrew L. says, if I remember correctly, in the foreword for the screenplay, when Kevin Williamson was younger, he went with a girl to see Halloween, and that was one of his first inspirations. You might be right. The original title for this movie, of course, was Scary Movie. I mean, that goes to show you how sort of self-aware and spoofy it was. I always call this movie, there was a time when I called it a spoof, and somebody corrected me. A few people have, and said, well, it's not really a spoof. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That is true. But it is spoofish. It does have, it's very self-aware, this film. Like I've often said, you got Robert Englund, Wes Craven dressed up as Freddy as the janitor. He's in the Freddy sweater and the hat, and he's got a name tag, and it says Fred. I mean, you can't get any more self-aware than that. All that was missing was the glove. The blood and guts coming out of him. That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Come on. Run. Get out. Come on. Come here. Let's go. It's Arnold on the phone. Come on. Come on. That'd be funny. But yes, the original title was Scary Movie. They were actually going to call this movie Scary Movie. I mean, how self-aware could you be, right? Patrick Anderson says, so excited, my first time for Saturday movie night. Welcome, Patrick Anderson. Great to have you here. Dia Maria says, Wes is hilarious by having Drew say that the first Nightmare was good, but the rest sucked. Oh, yeah. That's a little bit of... But to be fair, I mean, he also did Wes Craven's New Nightmare too, so he's taking a stab at him. He's poking fun at himself, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a great opening, and I've often said this. I mean, there's really, I know it sounds like it's Dave being Dave, but you just don't like sequels. It's like, no, that's not true. It's not true at all. But this really was just, it's too bad this was not a one and done deal. And then right now they're bringing back the original cast for a sequel. Like, that would be cool. Because this movie, I mean, and it ends. I love the way this movie ends because it doesn't set up a sequel. It just ends. There is no, there's nobody's eyes opening or somebody dashing out of the closet or coming out of somewhere. No, just ends. I love how, wow, I forgot. It looks like she's really in the country there. Like, looks like it's a field and shit. Yeah, her demise and it's her parents. That's right. Her demise and of course, there's the first time we see the ghost face, which has now become iconic. It's amazing, isn't it? That was the first time. I didn't see this movie in the theater. I saw it at home on VHS. And but my buddy Bruce did see this in the theater. And he'd have to tell the story better than me, but it was something like he just like, whatever, I'll just go see this movie. And he went and saw it, and he was pleasantly surprised. Ooh. Oh. I love that. She's like, no. Her parents are right there. She's got to get to her parents. Everybody had a cordless phone like that. Tabitha Short says, Dave, what is your favorite Wes Craven movie that he directed? Definitely the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I quite like The People Under the Stairs, too. I think that's fun. I didn't mind his 2005 film Red Eye with Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams, too. I thought that was pretty decent. And this movie, of course, is good, too. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, of course. It's taken me a while to appreciate Wes Craven's New Nightmare because it's very cerebral and meta. And as a teenager, when it came out, I was 15. I wasn't quite there. I wasn't wise enough. I wasn't old enough to really appreciate what they were doing. It was kind of like, what is this? Now they're all pretending like, you know what I mean? But as I got older, I appreciated it more. Casey. Her name's Casey. Darren Sand says, Deadly Friend was fun. Deadly Friend. I got to watch that. I don't know if I've seen that one. Matthew Ferresi says, I enjoy this movie, but A Nightmare on Elm Street reigns supreme. Oh, I mean, it's A Nightmare on Elm Street was, it's a different kind of, like the very first one. I mean, it was almost more, that's a great shot though, seeing her hanging by the tree there. And then the camera coming up at her like that. I like that. And then we cut into good old Canadian girl, Neve Campbell, ladies and gentlemen. Neve Campbell. Good old Neve. Neve Campbell. It's like every girl that had a TV show at this time was in a horror movie. You got Jennifer Love Hewitt and Neve Campbell were both on Party of Five. They're in horror movies. Sarah Michelle Gellar, of course, was Buffy, and she winds up in I Know What You Did Last Summer. But, yeah, A Nightmare on Elm Street was, I mean, brilliant, really. And in 1984, when it came out, I mean, tapping into, having that universal appeal of dreams and this weird, it was just, it's a very different kind of movie than this movie. I would say that if there was a movie that should be his legacy, I mean, yes, Scream, yes, but Elm Street is that movie that I mean, it helped to change horror. It did, just when you thought it was over with Michael and Jason, along comes Freddy, and it's like, Jesus, And although Ghostface has become extremely popular in pop culture, I mean, he didn't, of course, it was a different time, of course. It was 12 years later, but didn't achieve the same status as Freddy. Ghostface has achieved pop culture status, but he's achieved the same sort of level of pop culture status as like a Chucky. You know what I mean? They're kind of there. For me, at least that's how I see it. And again, I try to be as objective about that, right? I'm not talking about what I personally like. I'm trying to think about how these characters have infected pop culture and who are you more likely to see on a t-shirt, on a this, on a that, referenced in pop culture. And I think you are more likely to hear, maybe not so, now, but certainly back then, Freddie and Jason were king, for sure. Michael's 7 years of absence in the 80s really hurt him. I mean, now, of course, he's back, but at that time, hurt him. Jason Nike says, look for my Jaws review next Thursday. I'll post it. Jaws is the best opening of all time. Brilliant. Jaws' opening is brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely agree. I remember the first time I watched this movie, I thought he just has that look. Her boyfriend just has that look. He has that I'm up to no good, I'm really a fucking dick look. Some people just have that look. And look at him. He's going for the leg. Going up the leg. She's pushing it down. I don't think so. Not right now. No, stop. Come on, baby. Come on. No. Nev Campbell. How old is Nev Campbell here? She looks so young. Probably in her early 20s. Corey Dean says, Freddy is arguably a top 3 horror icon of all time. Michael, Jason, Freddy. Yeah, Michael's up there. I wouldn't put him at number 1, though. I mean, I would probably put Freddy or Jason in the modern era, for sure. Of course, that era is on its way out from being modern, but in comparison to, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Mummy, all that, Freddy over Michael. Freddy and Jason over Michael, for sure. Even today, the pop culture footprint that Freddy and Jason left many, many years ago was we're still seeing the effects of it today. See, that would piss me off. As a man, if I wanted to do it with my girl, and she's like, no. And then I'm leaving, and as I'm leaving, she flashes me. Get out of here. Us men right now, we all could be like, come on, don't do that to me. Ladies, don't do that. This entire movie, of course, was shot in California. And where are we here? I am, timestamp, I am 17 minutes and 58 seconds into the movie. Sydney is just walking by this cameraman. Something's happened at her school. It's like, what's going on? She's trying to figure it all out. What is going on? Well, there she is, Courtney Cox. This was a year. I think they had only done maybe one season of Friends by this point. I think it was just one season. There's what's-her-face. Forgot she was in this movie. I always forget she's in this movie. Rose McGowan, that's it. Yeah, I always forget she's in this movie. Good old Rose McGowan. Hasn't she shaved her head? And well, she's an activist now. I mean, she helped to bring down what's-his-face there, Harvey Weinstein. Darren Sand says, Dave, you provide a great stream with Sandy Johnson. Who are you considering for your next interview? Thank you, Darren. Well, I reached out to Sean Clark a couple of days ago and asked him about getting him and Nick Castle on, but I haven't heard from Sean. I did tell him in the message, I did say that, there's no rush. I just wanted to toss it out there because I said that I had Sandy and Rick on. I'm sure he knows Rick, whether I don't know. I don't know if they're friends or not, but I'm sure he knows who he is since they have sort of, competing agencies. And I just said that Rick told a great story about how he found Sandy and blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned in my message to Sean, I said, I'd love to get you on and get you to tell your story about how you got Nick back into the fold, right? Because it was Sean that helped to facilitate getting Nick in the movie. Now, of course, Nick's not, he's not the main guy anymore, of course. But if it wasn't for Sean, Nick probably wouldn't even be in the movie as just a little cameo. And Sean Clark played a huge role in that. So I reached out to him and just said, I'd love to get you, I know you rep Nick for appearances. And so rather than just sort of adding Nick and, tweeting him, I thought I would reach out to Sean because I've met Sean. I met him at the convention. We've talked privately on Facebook a couple of times. So I thought maybe I'll do it that way instead. And so I sent him that about, 3 or 4 days ago. And I just said there was no rush, just tossing it out there. It's not like we got to do this now. Just, maybe he could talk to Nick and see what he thinks or whatever. And he saw my message, but he hasn't returned it. So I don't know. Maybe he's just busy, or maybe he's just like, I don't fucking care. I have no idea. The last time we spoke was on good terms, so I'm assuming that everything's okay. He's just maybe busy, or just maybe he's, taking my no rush, to the full extent. Who knows? But that's who I would love to get on. I would love to get Sean and Nick Castle on, because I'd love him to share that story, and then I'm going to try and reach out to, I'd like to try and reach out to, do the Halloween sort of gamut there. Maybe PJ Souls but somebody I'd love to get Dean Cundy on, but Dean Cundy he's getting up there now. And when I talk to him at the convention, I'm always sort of, a lot of these older folks, they're not really tech savvy. So you gotta be. One of the reasons why Sandy Johnson's video was so choppy had nothing to do with me. It's because she lives in a rural area of Texas. And she said to me that sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. And when we were doing the interview, it just so happened that the video wasn't all that great. The most important part, though, is the audio is good. But that's why it was sort of like 2001 kind of webcam kind of thing, you know what I mean? But it's not her fault. She lives in a rural area, you know what I mean? But anyway, Darren, yeah, that's who I would love to get on. So we'll see. My fingers are crossed. I'll wait a little bit. I don't want to be a hound. I'll wait a little bit. Maybe I'll check with him in again, maybe in another month or so, just kind of check in and see if he's thought about it, or, like I said, I'm hoping the reason why he hasn't responded is just because he's busy, or because I told him no rush. Because as far as I know, we don't have any issues. Last time we talked, it was at the convention, and we laughed, had some fun, and, so fingers crossed. We'll see. But definitely those two I'd love to get on. And thank you, by the way, Darren, for the compliment about that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Sandy and sort of trying to get her to remember things that she doesn't normally, or that she may not remember, forget. I thought it was cool, when she told the story about how Jamie Lee Curtis was the one that was trying to get, the blood off of her and all that kind of, little anecdotal things like that, I think are really cool. I'm about 24 minutes into the movie. Sidney Prescott is sitting on her couch watching Gale Weathers on the news here. Yeah. Look at those 90s clothes. Those clothes are back, folks. Those clothes are back. They're back. What are you guys talking about here? Frank Riker says, just saying hi, but gotta go. Movie really not my cup of tea. That's okay, Frank. No worries there, my man. No worries. If you're not a Scream fan, that is all right, Frank. You popped in to say hello, and that's all that matters, Frank. We love you. Patrick Anderson says, Tommy Lee Wallace interview? Yeah, now there's somebody I wouldn't mind getting on. But again, I think I mentioned this on McRae Live, or maybe it was during the Patreon only thing a couple of days ago. I would love to get Tommy Lee Wallace on, but I would love to talk to him more than just about his story about the mask. Because that's listen, I'll get him to tell it. It's like, tell me the mask, I love that shot of the sunset. I love that. Love that shot of the sunset. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Yeah, but I want to know more. I want to talk about It. Fuck, let's talk about the miniseries It. He directed It. He directed Halloween 3. Let's talk about that. Like, we all know the story about how he did the Myers mask. And listen, okay, we'll spend 10 minutes. Tell me, we'll definitely talk about Halloween, 100%. But I want to go beyond that. I want to talk about his career as a filmmaker, any regrets, any films that he's wanted to do that maybe he turned down, or, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the miniseries. Fuck. Let's talk about Tim Curry. Let's talk, like, how do you think that is now? Like just things like that. It's Tommy Lee Wallace. There's more to him than just Halloween, even though obviously he's most famous for his attachment to that. But yeah. And then when you open up people to that kind of thing and you start asking them questions about things they don't really think about, it tends to jar their memories about things. And they tend to share things that either they've never shared or that they've never shared in a long time. It's so important that when you have an opportunity to speak to somebody that you wouldn't ordinarily have an opportunity to speak to, you do your best to not just recycle the same information. You can do that because it's like, it's a staple, right? Okay, Tommy, tell us a story about the Myers mask. You know what I mean? It's a staple, but you don't want to spend the whole interview talking about that. You know what I mean? Or Halloween. You know what I mean? I want to know so much more about this guy, really cool stuff. It's like talking to Nick Castle. I don't want to just talk about, so tell me, how did you do the walk? And there's like, okay, yeah, like we'll talk about that, but I want to talk about The Last Starfighter. I want to talk about his directing career. I want to talk about what was John Carpenter like, in college, I mean, what was your relationship like? Do you have any regret? Like what kind of movie, just talk about his career. Yes, Halloween, that's a part of his career, but there's more to that. And I think a lot of these people would like that because there's more to them than just Halloween. And they themselves are tired of answering the same thing 85 times. Darren Sand says, Sandy was a joy. I can't believe her friends and neighbors are unaware of her role in the film. She really has kept a low profile over the years. She has. Yeah, she really has. Because she didn't do much after that either. I mean, she did Halloween in 78. She did a couple sort of, teen sex kind of comedy films, low budget after that. But that was it. I mean, she never... And she could have had a career in modeling. I mean, she was gorgeous. You look at her centerfold and it's like, Jesus, like holy snap and crap. She could easily have been a model, and I don't mean a nude model. I mean, she could have been that too, but she could have just been a print model. She could have done commercials or, more movies, I'm sure, but she didn't. So yeah, she didn't really do anything after that. So she really did remove herself from the Hollywood vibe when she moved to Oregon, for sure. Love this shot of Sydney close up as she's on the phone. We got this sort of key light on her over here that's acting as sort of moonlight or maybe a porch light or something, or not a porch light, a street light perhaps. But I just love how she's not in complete darkness on the other side, but I do like that. He could totally kill her right here. Interesting. He goes up like this, and then she kicks him. It's like, you took too long, buddy. You took too long. You see, you should have just fucking kicked her ass right there. Oh. Trying to get in. And that knife is synonymous with Ghostface. And it doesn't even look like it's not like the Michael's butcher knife or something like that. You know what I mean? Enter name, call 911. She's calling 911 from her computer. That's strange. Oh, and the boyfriend just so happens to be there. So I would get, so that now I'm under the impression because he's just come through the window and the way he looks, like that's the giveaway. That is so interesting. Of course, they want you to believe he's the guy. Like anyway, I have 1,000 thoughts here. So he comes through the window. Clearly the ghost face then was Matthew Lillard's character. I always forget his name. What the hell is his name in the movie again? Steve? Steve? No. Is it Steve? No, what the hell is his name in the movie? Forget. It's Billy Loomis and, oh, there's Dewey. Stu, that's it. I was going to say Steve. Stu. And then, of course, when he comes through the window and he's hugging Sydney, he's got that look like he's looking out there like where, you know what I mean? And that's deliberate. I mean, that is a very intentional sort of, thing. The look on his face, the look of, he knows there's somebody there. And they really do want to create suspicion around him, but then they pull him back later and make you realize that, oh, I guess it wasn't him. But then, of course, they pull it away again and reveal that, no, he is part of it. There's two of them. Fascinating indeed. Tab of the Short says, do you think Nev Campbell had a stunt double in this movie at all? Yes, for sure. Yep. Not necessarily for on the ground there with Ghostface on top of her, but doesn't later in the movie she crawls onto the roof or something like that? Or she falls or something. There's something like that. For sure there would have been. You'd be surprised at the amount of I mean, yeah, yes, she did, for sure. 100%. Even if it's minor. Gale Weathers, folks. Dia Maria says the sheriff was a deputy in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes! Good catch, Dia. You are absolutely right. That is a good catch. Just turn my volume up there. That is a good catch. He wasn't the one that said he's in the John, he's been puking ever since he saw it or something like that. Is that guy? Or was it the other guy? I totally remember that. That's a great scene. I love that. I just love when he says that. It's like, what do you mean he's been puking? Like, that is one of those things, putting up my feet here. That is one of those things, folks, where it's like, how bad is it? How bad is it that you're puking in the John? Nickname for the bathroom. Look at this guy. Looks like he's wearing a wig. So they're really trying to paint paint Billy's innocence here. They do a good job at keeping him suspicious, but keeping the seed of doubt in your mind. Like you're like, oh, maybe not. I mean, maybe not. Maybe he just looks like one of those guys. Maybe not. Maybe, okay. And there comes a moment in the movie where you do actually trust him again to a degree. Do you know what I mean? You do actually trust him again. Corey Dean says, maybe I better go get the lieutenant. Yes. Yep. Dia Maria says, I'm not sure, but I know he was talking to John Saxon on the lawn after Glenn died. Okay, maybe it's not the same guy then. He does look like a douche. Darren Sand says, you also have the Mackenzie reference at the start, direct from Halloween. Yep. Oh, yeah, there's quite a few references in here. Yeah. Oh, there's Rachel McGowan. Her death is in the garage door. I if I'm not mistaken. Remember that. Andrew L says, I find it funny that Fonzie is the principal in this. Yeah, that's right. That is right. Fonzie, that's right. But Squiggly from Laverne and Shirley is the principal in Scary Movie. Squiggy, excuse me. Yes. I haven't seen Scary Movie in years. Because Scary Movie came out in the year 2000 or something? I think it's 20 years old. Something crazy like that now. It's 20 years old or something. Yeah, Fonzie. Fonzie. Darren says, Dave, you look knackered. You mean tired? Is that a British saying for tired? I guess I am a little tired. A little bit, I guess. It's just been a very, very busy, exhausting week. Just there's so many things we're doing, so many meetings I've had in regards to It's Me, Billy, and we're just kind of trying to finalize everything and the campaign. And this afternoon I had Nancy. Sydney just punched Gale Weathers in the face. Yeah, that's right. Does Gale want to... Does she press charges at all? I don't know. Yeah, this afternoon we had a meeting for a couple hours with Greg Bennett, our DP. We were just talking to him about, our vision for the movie and style and tone and stuff. It was just to give him the sense and that. And then a couple of days ago, we had a 2.5 hour table read, and Bruce sent me today, kind of piggybacking off of your question the other day when talking about insurance and stuff. Bruce sent me today. He sent me today CMPA COVID-19 guidelines. This is from the Film and Television Industry Health and Safety during COVID-19. It's 45 pages. It's intense. And then I got also implementing the Ontario Film and Television Industry Health and Safety guideline from the Canadian Media Producers Association. I was sent that today as well, a document in regards to that, which I have to go over, which is another 45 pages. It's a lot. It's just a lot of, because we got to make sure that we're doing, we're abiding by everything. And so between those two documents, it's 90 pages full of stuff. And it's just been that kind of, because we're gearing up, and we're getting ready. And obviously we can't shoot the movie and if we don't have the money, but if we don't raise the money, I feel good about, we're not leaving anything on the table. You know what I mean? We're where's the movie here? I just exited out of the movie. Oh, there it is. There we go. We're not leaving anything on the table. We're going full throttle and we'll see what happens. Like I said, and I say to everybody, listen, if somebody with very deep pockets comes in and drops, $5,000 down or something like that, well, it's great. If 2 or 3 people do that, oh my God, that's amazing, right? But at the end of the day, it's not about that. There's a couple of those tiers there, but what it really is that if a lot of people can buy a Blu-ray, it sounds like a lot of people, but if 1,000 people all bought a Blu-ray, we're almost there. Never Hike Alone, I think he had 1,600 people buy a Blu-ray or something like that. Again, that's a different beast altogether because of they have the first movie to influence that, but it's all about a lot of people buying the lower tiers. And if a lot of people can buy the lower tiers, we might be able to do this. We might be able to do it. But yeah, I'm just tired, I guess, just because everything, it's just been a busy, so much busy stuff going on with all this. And then I got to start, what else I have to do? I got to, then next Thursday, we have to drive up to, well, I can't tell you that. I don't want to tell you that. Anyways, it's a 4-hour drive away where our main location could be. So we got to go do 2 location scouts there. And so that's a long drive. That'll be an all-day affair. It's 2 days before we launch the campaign. And then, yeah, just a lot of stuff. And so where am I here? I am at I'm 41 minutes and 11 seconds into the movie. Sydney and Gale are having a little conversation in front of the van. Gale's in red. But we're excited, man. The cast is like, it's such a talented cast, you know. Come on, punch her again, Sydney. Hello, Sydney. Neve Campbell was pretty good on House of Cards. I watched her on, I think season 5 or 4 or 5 of House of Cards. That's the last thing I think that I know that she did. That was a couple years ago. Corey Dean says, you'll raise it. I hope so, man. I hope so. You know, we'll see. I mean, I definitely think we're going to raise something. I mean, there's definitely some buzz there, but it's hard to say. We are going to send out a press release too next week. The day that we launch, we'll send it out. Like I don't know who will pick it up, but we'll send it to like MovieWeb and Bloody Disgusting and, you know, iHorror and like, you know, we'll send it around, you know, and they're under no obligation to run it. Obviously it is a fan film, but, you know, we're taking it very seriously. It's a professional film. So, but we don't have Miko Hughes attached, you know, which really helped sort of get the word out there for Dylan's New Nightmare. I mean, if we had like, you know, a name attached, that obviously would help, but that's tough to do too. But hopefully the teaser and the presentation of everything and will speak for itself, but we'll see. We are doing our very best to make this as professionally as possible. Like it'll look great. And if we can raise the budget and then some, we want to shoot on, we'll probably shoot on the Arri. Maybe the Arri Alexa, which is the same camera they shot like, you know, Avengers on. You know what I mean? Like it's a, you know, but we need to raise the budget for that so we can afford the camera package. The Alexa's a bit older, but it's still great. Come on, he is him. Look at those eyes. You can't tell me that this guy's eyes does not speak. He's a dead fuck. Well, no, he's not. Yeah, well, he kind of. I wonder who. Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. Dia Maria says the new reporter lady is played by Linda Blair, who played. Yes, that's right. Yes, that is right. Good old Reagan. Matthew Faresi. Am I saying that right again? Farisi? Sorry, dude. I definitely will contribute. Super excited for it. Well, we appreciate that, man. Really do. Like I said, I have 21,000 subs. Now, who knows how many of those are dead accounts? Who knows how many of those people don't give a fuck about my channel anymore? Who knows? I have 2,500 people, or no, about 2,300 people that like my Many Things page, my Facebook page. If 500 people from many things and another 500 subscribers can all buy a Blu-ray, I mean, we're well on our way. We're not there yet, but we're well on our way. You know what I mean? And that's again, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. But like I said, it's all the little things or the little ones. That's ultimately, I think, what will drive it over. And then if some guy or gal comes in with a bomb, I mean, that's amazing. But so I'm at the bathroom scene now where Sydney is Dana equals fast. Oh, that's funny. Sydney is she has her ghost face experience here in a second. Oh. Look at this woman. Drama! Petty drama. See, guys don't do this. Guys don't do this. Look at the way she's putting on the lipstick. Oh, it's so gross. Oh, that's gross. It's gross. Well, that lipstick's not too bad. I'm not a big fan of lipstick that's like... I've never been a big fan of lipstick that glistens, that looks like it would rub off on you. Oh, it's just something, I don't know what it is. It's just gross to me. I don't necessarily think the women are gross that wear it. There's just something about it. It's just so shiny and like it's your grandma's. The subtler, the better, in my opinion. The Fonz don't play. No, you're right. Hey. Darren says, Dave, check out the movie The Vast of Night on Prime. American Graffiti crossed with Close Encounters via Twilight Zone. Dude, that sounds cool. Treat yourself. Frank really liked it too. The Vast of Night. I am totally looking this up right now. The Vast of Night. The Vast of Night. Oh, it was just this year or last year. Well, Rotten Tomatoes has this 2020 and IMDb has this 2019. Wait, what did Rotten Tomatoes give it? 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Vast of Night. In the twilight of the 1950s, let me try that again. In the twilight of the 1950s, on one fateful night in New Mexico, young switchboard operator Faye and charismatic radio DJ Everett discover a strange audio frequency that could change their small town in the future forever. I am down. Fuck, I'm down. Give me some munchies. I want to watch this tonight. That sounds right up my alley. Why have I not heard of this? Was this intended for a theatrical release or maybe not? That's really cool. Dude, I'm down. Thank you, Darren. I'm down. Oh, Amazon original. Okay. Now, I get it. Amazon. Cool. I will check it out. I'll check it out. May 29th, Prime Video. Okay, cool. So it was an Amazon. It played at TIFF last year. Did it? Huh. I wasn't at TIFF last year. I was at TIFF the year before, so that's probably why I try to go to TIFF every year to see at least like one movie. Do you guys remember the horror movie Lovely Molly? Do you remember that? It's about 10 years old now. I saw that. I saw the premiere of that at TIFF. Oh man. The director was there and everything. And God, that was a weird movie. Lovely Molly. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I saw that at TIFF. And I try to get there. I don't go every year. I shouldn't say that. I don't go every year, but I try to go like, as often as I can because it's great to be down there and sometimes I get invited to I guess they're after parties, I guess. I usually don't go though. Because I might know like one or two people that are there, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to go down. Like it was my movie in an after party, okay. But some obscure, and I'm just like going down. I was like, I don't know. Like if it was an after party for like, Halloween, well, but sometimes I don't go down for that stuff. Darren says it's low budget, but incredibly effective. I'm down. I'm in. I love that kind of stuff, man. Love that kind of stuff. So great. The Vast of Night. Oh, I gotta watch it. Man. Patrick Anderson says, like to see another Bruce Tomahawk or Western horror theme. Oh, sorry, Bone Tomahawk or Western horror theme pick. What do you mean? From me? Nicholas, oh, I forget this now again. Nicholas Sachetti? Sachetti, like spaghetti? Sachetti, I think I'm saying that. I'm the same way, Dave. The lipstick freaks me out. Yeah. I don't mind subtle lipstick. Like it's maybe like a nice sort of, it's accented maybe a bit. But the big red lipstick, like the big red glistening lipstick, you see, I'm just like, oh, I'm just not a fan of that. I never have been. I don't know if I got kissed by some aunt when I was younger or something and just scarred me for life. I have no idea, but I've just never been a big fan of that. Never been a big fan. Bone Tomahawk I have not seen. I've not seen Bone Tomahawk. One of Kurt Russell's best movies, some shocking moments in that movie. I got to see it. Oh, I know what you mean now when you said picture. Okay, I get it now. I get what you mean. Yeah, I hear that Bone Tomahawk is good. Good old Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler. Guy's name is Henry Winkler, and yet he played one of the toughest guys in television pop culture history. And yet he's not a big guy. I think he's 5'7" or something. He might be, I'm 5'8". He might be he's essentially my size. Not short, but not tall. You know what I mean? Just kind of, I don't want to say average because average has changed over the years, but I think he's 5'7", I think. My dad met him. Oh, there he is. There's Fred. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. I mean, clearly that's, clearly. Henry Winkler. He's getting up there now. He's got to be in his, He's got to be in his 70s at least. Close to it. It's hard to believe that in another 6 years... It's hard to believe that in another 6 years, getting a pen. It's hard to believe that in another 6 years, this movie will be 30 years old. Isn't that insane? Was Fred played by Wes? Yes, he was. Yes, he was. That was Wes Craven. It's very California, but... Well, the whole thing takes place in California, so that's not a big deal. Darren Sand says, I saw Henry Winkler in, is that Pantonomime? Pantonomime? Am I saying that right? One Christmas in London in Pantonomime. Or maybe it's a word I know, but I'm butchering it. In London, he played Captain Hook and Peter Pan and really threw himself into the role. He really didn't care. Oh, he's eccentric. He's charismatic. Absolutely, he would do that. Charming. The complete opposite of the Fawn. Well, that's not exactly. Well, the complete opposite of the Fawns in the sense that he's not like this, biker tough guy. Maybe I'm just really tired. Here, let me get this word. Oh my goodness. Oh, pantomime. You know what? I've never heard of that word. Pantomime. Interesting. I've never heard of that word. Pantomime. Yeah. Pantomime. Okay, that's what it is. Hey, you learn something new every day. Thank you, Darren. Never heard of that word, but it kind of does sound familiar, but I'm going to go with no. Certainly not a word that is in my Rolodex very often. But very cool. Corey Dean says, video stores, I miss these. Yeah, good old video stores, man. I worked at one. I worked at a video store after I left college. And, yeah, good old video stores. Tabitha says, someone get Dave some toilet paper with word of the day. This is a great scene, though. Like, this is a really good scene because everybody can relate to it. And when you think about horror movies and you think about it, you know, it really does sort of make sense. You know what I mean? What Jamie Kennedy is saying. You know, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that there. Yeah, it's a cool sort of, again, it's not, yeah, it's just fun. And he takes it so seriously. Yeah, nobody suspected Stu either. Billy you suspect because he looks, like I said, he looks like a, but Stu was a surprise to make them both that, you know. And that's what they look like. Jamie Kennedy. He kind of looks like a little bit now. He sort of looked like my friend Brian kind of had his face a little bit when we were teenagers in high school. Of course, this movie came out when I was in high school. I was 17. They do it, like I said earlier, they do a really good job in this movie at making you think there's something weird about these two, but at the same time you think, no, maybe that's too obvious, you know? They do a good job with that. Dia Maria says, nobody wanted to take Randy seriously. Yeah, no, nobody did. And yet he calls it. Whew. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm not yawning at you. Oh, there's a curfew on. There's a curfew, damn it. I don't remember this song in the movie. That's funny. It's so funny. Darren Sanso, so Tenet Milan have moved again. Hollywood are getting twitchy again. Yep. They moved. They're moving into August. I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy stuff. I mean, you know, when you really think about it, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's a trailer that's cut, though, for Halloween Kills. I can tell you that with almost certainty. There's a trailer that's been cut. It's just not, they just don't show it because they can't. At this rate, I mean, Tenet's moving into the middle of August. Mulan is moving into August. Yeah, I mean, we'll know. Like I said, man, we'll know by the middle of August, be the latest. I hope they push it. That's what I hope. I hope they don't release it on VOD. I hope they push it. Because you can do that. You can push it to next year. You can shoot Halloween Ends, you know, next year. You know, or you can shoot it this year too. I mean, if you wanted to do that, but. So yeah, I mean, Dewey is coming back. He's coming back. Scream 5 coming out next year. Scream 5 coming out next year. Dia Maria says, I do too. Blockbuster and Hollywood Video was big here in New York City. Yeah. We had Blockbuster here. We had 2 Canadian chains called Jumbo Video and Rogers Video. Same sort of thing. Jumbo was really cool because you would go in and they would have a popcorn machine where you could fill like little mini like snack size bags of popcorn, walk around the store eating popcorn while you looked for a movie to rent. It was so great because obviously you'd be like, this is such good popcorn. I need to buy some now. I miss those days. Definitely miss those days. Darren says, for sure there's a trailer. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. There's probably been one for a while. There's probably been one for a couple of months. There was probably a trailer locked probably by April. Or at least May, the latest. Oh, they're at the party. They're at the party. I'll be right back. Where is this house, by the way? I know we could look it up, but the house is... this would be a cool... I wonder if this house is within a reasonable distance, because the next time I'm in Los Angeles, I should... unless it's not in LA proper. Maybe it's, or not LA proper, but, in the greater LA area. Unless it's in like, it's like San Diego or something, which is quite a drive. I don't know, but I should check it out. There was a trailer pre-lockdown. I know that for sure. Well, there you go. There you go. So that's March. That's March for sure. And that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, for sure. That makes sense. That makes sense. Look at this flirting going on between Dewey and Gale. The guy in the truck's like, yeah, go get some. And of course, they throw in Halloween and not A Nightmare on Elm Street because Wes thought it would be a little too self-indulgent for, a little too self-indulgent. I agree with that. I understand that. I wonder if he thought about putting on Friday the 13th. Look at that robe. I want that robe that Stu's wearing. It's great. Dia Maria says, it was such an experience to go rent videos and popcorn, have good times with friends, and pray to not get late fees upon returns. That's right. That's right. Yeah. It was usually a 2-day rental, and you had to be careful to take it back in time. Sometimes it was cheaper to just pay. Sometimes if you hadn't watched the movie or you wanted to keep it longer because you wanted to watch it again or something, sometimes it was cheaper to pay the late fee than it was to go in and rent it again for 2 days. So sometimes just keeping it was the best thing to do. How would you not notice that? Well, I guess it is black and it's on top of the VCR or whatever, but if I was looking at it, that was my place and I was looking at that. Look at Rose McGowan's nipples. Like, come on. Come on. So intentional. Is this supposed to create the impression that it's cold in the garage? I don't think it would be that dramatic. She's getting a lot of beer there. How many beers can she hold? Oh, shit. Aw, little cat. Little cat. Patrick Anderson says, be kind and rewind. Yep. This is a good death scene. Yeah, I like it. You know, the garage door and stuff. Now, who do you think this killer is? You think it's Stu? You think it's Billy? Billy. It's me, Billy. Matthew says, I think it's Billy. Billy, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Because Stu later makes me think it's him. Yeah. And the Ghostface mask, too, I've learned, it changes from movie to movie. Very subtly. But there's certain little details in the mask that are different from movie to movie, apparently. You got to get out of there. You got to get out of there. Freezer. Freezer burn. That's what that should have been called right there. Freezer burn. Throwing the beer bottles at him. That's the way to do it. Oh! It was quite the... And she tries to get it. I would never attempt to try and get out the door like that. That's such a weird choice to make. What? She gets electrocuted, right? Or hang on, what happens here again? Oh, okay, it just goes like up. And that was such a fake head too. It was great. That was great. Old school, like practical fake head. I love it. Yeah, okay, it breaks her neck as she goes up like that. I love how Ghostface just opens the door and he's like, all right. And just leaves. He just leaves. He's like, anybody see that? No? It's like all you need to do is just add some, I just think that's funny. That's funny. That's great. Dia says it does change. You're right, Dave. Yeah, that's what I thought. I learned that not too long ago. Matthew says, I think Stu killed Casey, Steve, and the cameraman while Billy made the calls and killed the Fonz. Tatum and Fonz, Tatum, and attacked Dewey at the end. You might be right. I have no idea. I haven't watched as closely as some Scream fans were or have. Dia Maria says Rose McGowan said that she could actually fit through the hole. I'm sure she could. Yeah, it looks like she could. It's just not easy access. It's going to take you a bit to get through, and he's eating Cheetos. Darren Sand says, were any of the main cast actually playing Ghostface, or was it a stunt guy for the most part? That's a really good question. I think it was a stunt guy for the most part. I don't think Billy there is a moment where I think they're demasked, right? Or I think you see them or something. But no, I don't think it was. I don't think Billy or Stu were ever actually in the costume. But I do stand to be corrected on that, and somebody in the chat can correct me, or somebody watching after the fact can certainly correct me on that. Well, they're about to do it. You gonna do it? Gonna do it? And you remember that as kids when hey, did you do it? You gonna do it? You're gonna do it. So funny. Yeah, he looks like he's got a lot on his mind. He just looks like he's... And he definitely has, and it's got to be intentional, he definitely has a Johnny Depp vibe. You know what I mean? There's definitely a Johnny Depp vibe. You know, you got Sydney, who's the girl next door look, definitely a Heather Langenkamp vibe, things like that. Timestamp, just so you guys know, 1 hour and 11 minutes and 25 seconds into the movie. Oh, you're going to do it. I wouldn't do it if I were you. I can't remember. Does she end up, or does it get interrupted? I can't fucking remember. Oh, I kind of remember now. Patrick Anderson says one of them did while Randy is on the couch watching Halloween by himself. Can't remember which one. This is where you want to do it. So what do you think? You think Sydney's a virgin and this is her first time ever? Or do you think she's not a virgin and this is just her first time with him? I'm going to say that she's a virgin and this is her first time. That's what I'm going to say. Playing into the, you know, the archetype, the stereotypical archetype of the final girl. I mean, not all final girls have to be virgins, but I think this is just that archetype, you know, that Laurie Strode kind of. Yeah, I agree. She's a virgin. Yeah, I agree. There it is. Halloween. There's the image of that I posted on my social media of the different viewers of my channel. was this image. So great. Michael Myers tilting his head back and forth. I love that shot to it. Nobody ever mentions this, but there's like the knife holding Bob up on the wall has its own light. Has its own light source. Has like this key light that's like, oh! The knife is lit. I wouldn't have lit it like that. I would have sort of maybe, well, I guess if you open the barn doors and you have the fall of the light more, it'd be too much light, but maybe just dim it down. Maybe, I don't know. But then it's not a big deal. It's just little things. I'm just like, it's got its own light. Like it's, you know, it's a very special knife that's holding like a 180-pound man up on the wall, which would never happen. You could never stab a knife through somebody and enough of it come out the other side that it's going to hold the person up on the wall. But hey, we suspend our disbelief, right? We suspend our disbelief. This guy looks like he'd be eating Cheetos. Crazy, crazy. And Halloween H2O played Scream 2 on the TV. Yes, that's right. That's right. They did. Wasn't it the Sarah Michelle Gellar scene? Was it the Sarah Michelle Gellar scene? Was it that scene? I forget now. Am I right on that? Or is... Yes, it was. Tabitha says yes. Okay, cool. I thought it was her death scene, I think, or close to it. I remember that. I doodly do remember that. Courtney Cox and David Arquette obviously dated in real life. They're not dating anymore. I think they were married too. Did they get married or were they just dating? I don't know. They were together for a while. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is the original cast coming back? I know David Arquette is, and that's been confirmed, but is anybody else or is it just him? Here it is, her first time with Billy Loomis. They married and they share a daughter. Oh, okay. They married and they share a daughter. Here it comes. PJ Souls. See anything you like? See anything you like? Love how they crop that, how they do that. Good old PJ. Yeah, I got pictures of my friend Brian, who's got a very Jamie Kennedy vibe. That's funny. That is so... I think it's in the nose and the eyes a little bit. I should tell Brian that. He doesn't look like him anymore, but I should. But back then he was like skinny like him too. I should tell him that. That's right. You shouldn't be having sex. She's having sex with the killer, ladies and gentlemen. She's having sex with the killer. And he finally notices that. Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, that's right. There's a delay. There's a delay. Darren says, I really couldn't care about another Scream film. I'm with you. I'm with you. Who's doing it? Is it Sony that's doing it? No, it's not Sony. Who's doing Scream? Screen Gems? Screen... Who the fuck's doing Scream? I'm there with you, though. I am. I don't care. I think it's ran its course. I think Halloween's ran its course. You know. Paramount. Oh, Paramount. Oh, Paramount's the distributor. Paramount's doing that. Yeah, I don't care about another movie. I don't. I mean, you know, I know that's not fun to say, but you know, I mean, of course, I'm very curious what they're going to do and how it's all going to come down. And of course, it'll be the first Scream movie without Wes Craven, so that'll be interesting to see how they figure all that out. But I don't know what Halloween Kills or Ends is going to be like, but I still think they should have just ended it with that one movie and just had Laurie sacrifice herself to save her daughter and her granddaughter, and she died with the shape. I think that would have been great. What a way to go out. If Laurie doesn't die, I'll be so disappointed. But she's got to die with the shape. She can't die and then it just goes on. She's got to die with the shape. That's how I think, anyway. Darren follows up, says, did anyone see the recent tweet Matthew Lillard put out where he looks like Trump? No, let me click on this. He looks like Trump? Matthew Lillard looks like Trump? Let me click on this. Oh, this is a web... It's a web file. It's a link to a web file. You might want to get a JPEG or one to a different... Why can't I open this? Open? Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Maybe I can open it here. No, there we go. Oh, yeah. I see it now. That's so funny. That's funny. Of course, you know, you can take anybody, not anybody, but that's funny. That's funny. And he posted that? Matthew Lillard posted that? Yeah, I guess he did. Yeah, you just said that. That's really funny. Yeah, that definitely tells you that he, if anything, he's got a really good sense of humor. So they did do the deed. Here we are. They did the deed. She's no longer pure. She's tainted. She's tainted. No, that's it. It's over. It's all over, ladies and gentlemen. It's all over. It's tainted. He just acts so creepy. Is this actor still doing things? Like, is he still doing anything. I know he's been in other things, but I don't recall seeing him really in anything. Oh, the stabbing. There it is. See, and this is the moment where you're like, oh, I guess it really wasn't anything to do with him. But then things change. I had doors like that locked like that, little side doors. Actually, they're pretty strong, actually, to be honest with you. And I believe, I stand to be corrected, but I believe the interiors are the same as the exteriors as well. I believe the house was it was the same, if I'm not mistaken. They shot I don't think this, I mean, parts of this may have been a soundstage, but, oh yeah, right. Going back to the stunt person question, this is where they would have definitely utilized a stunt double. There's no question. Now this might be oh no. Yeah, that person there who, yeah, definitely is a stunt person. Now this is Sydney getting up off the ground. Yeah, he is. Matthew's funny. I love Matthew Lillard. Great sense of humor. Totally understand him being upset about not being able to voice Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. I get it. As a voice actor, I understand it. I just learned that Mark Henry is stepping down from voicing Cleveland. I don't think that's the right move. I understand the principle of it all, but I don't think that's the right move. I just don't. I think I am an absolute supporter of raising people up and giving people more opportunities, especially people of, whether you're black or whether you're of a minority group, whatever the case is, 100%. But I think the roles that are there, I think need, I think we should be creating new roles that can become iconic for these people. Not necessarily, because what does it, anyways, I don't want to go off on a tangent about it, but what does it mean? Where do you stop? It's such a tricky thing. And I just don't agree with it. I think it's the wrong move to make. It doesn't seem, does that mean that you're going to go back and erase 20 years of Cleveland? You're going to redo it all because, anyway, just really unfortunate. Like, that's why I'm all for, like, I'm totally against, like, an Indiana Jane. Let's have an Indiana Jane or a Jane Bond. It's like, no. Let's not do that. Let's create original characters that can flourish. Because then if it's successful and becomes iconic, it becomes iconic on its own merits. It doesn't become iconic because you were riding on the coattails of a proven IP. It was only successful because it had the Indiana Jones name, or something like that. You don't want that, I understand why they do that. Sometimes it's easier, but I don't know, man. Oh, for a minute, I heard Lori screaming. And for a minute, I was like, and I'm like, oh, right, of course. Halloween. It's so great. Tabitha says, why didn't Ghostface ever kill Randy when he was on the couch? Just to add suspense for who the killer might be? I don't know. Maybe it just could have been something as simple as the writers really liked him and they thought if this movie is successful and they ever make a sequel, they want him back in the sequel, which they did. Of course, he dies in the sequel. Spoiler alert. But it could be why. Corey Dean says, I love how the killer was on cue with the movie. Yes. Yep. Yep, very cool indeed. Tabitha says, I love Matthew Lillard in 13 Ghosts. That's a movie I've never seen. I've never seen 13 Ghosts. Dia Maria says, I always wondered about that too, Tabitha. Oh, yeah. It could just be, like, in the story, I don't know. I have to watch that again. Because they like to bully him, right? So maybe, yeah, like you think they would have finally taken him out. Because they were bullying him at the video store. So why not just take him out? As if you would punch, as if you didn't. Oh, well, no, I guess because she doesn't know. So that makes sense. I forgot about that. She doesn't know. Blood all over the windshield. That's great. This is the van. This is the OG van, the H2O van here. And there's Michael Myers. No. Oh, yeah, that's her partner there. There she goes. Oh no, it doesn't do any flips. I thought it did some flips, but it just goes into the thing. Good old Sidney Prescott. Tabitha says the audio is off right here with her lips. Always annoyed me. What part is that? That must have been, they did some ADR then probably to change something. Dewey is stabbed. Dewey is stabbed. Is he dead? No, I mean, obviously he's not dead because he's in the next 3 movies. Well, no, I think they do. I was just going to say, does anybody ever refer to Ghostface as Ghostface in the movie, like in the story? Do the characters in any of the movies ever call him Ghostface? I think they do. But do they in this movie? I don't think they do. Or do they in this movie? I can't remember. Dia Maria says, David Arquette was supposed to die too, but when they saw the reaction of fans of him dying, they reshot and had him alive going into the ambulance. I didn't know that. See, you're learning something new every day. Didn't know that. That makes sense. That's a very common thing too. You know, a lot of times that happens. Ooh, she's kicking him. Yes. Tabitha says when Courtney Cox is in the van. Ah, okay. Okay, yeah, we passed that. I'll have to look at that. Look for that next time. Sydney. Yeah, I like this. I always like this scene because you don't know who it is, who to trust. And I love the POV shot from her perspective, and they're doing, that to the camera, right? You know what I mean? I like that. She should just shot them both. End of the movie, roll credits. Can you imagine? It almost looks like a heart on her face there, on her cheek in blood. It almost looks like a little heart. There's a little spatter of blood on her left cheek, and it kind of looks like a heart. That's funny. He's alive. He's alive. Billy's alive. And he's bloody. He's all bloody, folks. He's all bloody. Taz says, but Dave, for reals, watch 13 Ghosts. Great movie. All right. I will put it on the list with The Vast of Night. Got to check those out. It's an older movie, though, isn't it? The 13 Ghosts, I think. Ah, here it is. Oh, that gunshot looked like it hurt. Ho, 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 ho. Oh. And of course, this is where she finds out, oh, it's not real. So they were right. When I say they, I mean the audience who thought he was suspicious the whole time. No. Nowhere to run now, Sydney. Yeah, this is a fun scene here in the kitchen. Corey Dean, yeah, we all go a little mad sometimes. Dia Maria says, my husband is mad as hell, saying, shouldn't Sydney know who it is? He said, didn't Sydney just watch the killer standing over Randy on the monitors? That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. Shout out to your husband. It's a good question. Tabitha says, my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Love that line. Yeah, I know. My mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Because you forget, like, they're still, well, I mean, they're a little older, but they're supposed to be, like, 17, 18, right? They're a few years older than that. But not much. Not much. Okay, the heart-shaped blood spatter on Sydney's cheek is not really a heart there anymore. Maybe it's just the way it looks when she smiles or something like that. The spot is there still, but it doesn't look like a heart anymore. Kind of looks like a heart, but it's like drooping down or something like that. What are you going to do, Sydney? What are you going to do? And it's such a different, like, Scream is such an interesting, because again, it's not about a supernatural killer killing anybody, and listen, I mean, I know Michael human, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have that angle to it. It's not Freddy, it's not Jason, it's not Chucky, it's not Michael, it's not Pinhead. These are just two teenagers that took, well, like they say about the movie, took their love of horror movies too far. And so that's interesting. I mean, that's, I've always liked that. But I don't think that is a movie or a premise. I don't think it's a premise that has legs, unless it's consistently reinventing itself, because oh, yeah, then there's the dad reveal. The good old dad reveal, folks. But yeah, I don't think it's... I've never thought that... I understand why they made a sequel to this movie. I understand why you maybe made it, a trilogy. But even Scream 4, I was like, why are you doing Scream 4? I know people like that better, the third movie, that's fine. But Scream 5... Scream 5 will definitely have it will definitely utilize modern technology, modern tropes, modern things. It has to. In order for it to be relevant and for the younger generation to care about it, it has to. I mean, maybe you could just do it as like a passing of the torch thing or something. Oh, stab Stu. Like maybe, but what else can you do with Scream? I mean, I know that you can utilize modern technology, but what else do you do? Like, is Sydney coming back again? Like I said, we know David Arquette's coming back, but, oh, God. It's got to be a really good story. It's got to be smart and witty and fresh. It's got to. It's got to. Because if it's not, if it's just essentially Scream 4, but, 10 years later, it's hard to believe that nearly as much time has passed between Scream 4 than as much time had passed between Scream 3 and 4. That's insane to think, but it's true. It's true. 10 years will have passed, and 11 years passed between Scream 3 and 4. That's just ridiculous. And yes, things have changed for sure. For sure. But they're going to have to make it, Tab of the Short says, I didn't like Scream 4. Should have stopped after 3. I think I enjoyed 4 a little better than 3, but I agree. Look, I think 3 is a little bit of a stretch. The explanation, you're the brother you never knew about. And it's just kind of like, really, I didn't particularly like the bigger picture of what was going on. But, I mean, very rarely do you find third installments in trilogies as satisfying as their predecessors anyway. Although The Dark Knight Rises is a really good movie, you don't see people saying it's The Dark Knight or even Batman Begins. Although people like, aspects and maybe even quite enjoy, Return of the Jedi, it's no Empire. And again, there are trilogies, some examples where the third one is arguably maybe the best one, like, Return of the King. It does happen, but generally speaking, if you're doing a trilogy, your third installment will, be sort of a divisive film. I think Scream, this movie from beginning to end, is tight, it's locked, it's solid, it's fresh, it's different. And I think if you had just left it at this, again, I understand why they didn't, obviously, but I would be much more interested in Scream 5 if it was actually Scream 2. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would be much more interested in this next Scream movie if it was the first time, 25 years has gone by, whatever happened to Sidney Prescott, and all of a sudden, Ghostface is back? What? What's going on? Like, that might be a little, that might be interesting to me, And I don't mean just pretending the other sequels didn't exist and just making, of course you can always do that too, but how cool would it be if there really were no other sequels and this new one coming out was like, I don't know, there's just something to be said about that. There's something to be said about it. Matthew says, also, what aspect of horror will they spoof in 5? Well, I wouldn't say that Scream, again, the spoofing that happens in the Scream movies is light, it's subtle, because it's not a spoof movie, right? It's not like a Naked Gun or a Scary Movie where they're just making fun of other movies. It's more satire. It's more of a it's more sophisticated than that. They I don't want to say poke fun, but they bring to your conscious mind the stereotypes of horror movies. So in Scream 5, you might see a paranormal angle to it, maybe a possession angle to it somehow, or maybe a few quips and lines in there where they talk about that, or there's something that's, I don't know. They've got to do something. And I'm not saying it's going to be right or it's going to be even successful, but they've got to do something because, I just think that Scream has ran its course. Most horror movies do run their course after a few movies. Oh, Sydney putting on the costume like a beast. Ooh. I love the blood stain on the back of Stu's sweater because it's like it seeped through, like it's gone through. Unless he was stabbed in the back. Was he stabbed in the back? Maybe he was. But I like that kind of thing. Matthew Lillard was great in this. Put the TV on him. Oh! 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 Right there. Oh! Now, there's a lot of people that think they could bring back Stu somehow. Like he survived that somehow. I don't think he survived that. I don't. I think he was electrocuted. Doesn't Billy get shot in the head here? I forget who shoots him. Is it Gale? Excuse me. I think it's Gale. Oh, that would hurt. Yes, it was Gale. Right, shoots him in the shoulder, and then he has that one last, and shoots him in the head. Love the detail of the blood in the teeth. That's fantastic. Love that. That's great. That's great. That was a believable death. I like that. Good job. Because he's very sort of emo through this whole movie. Billy Loomis, I mean, he shows a little bit of personality and excitement when he's in the police station being accused of, but most of the movie he's just very like he's very, Johnny Depp, what's going on? And he showed a bit of life there. He showed a bit of life, and that was good. That was good. That's right, Dia. Thank you so much. That's right. Sydney shoots him in the head. That's right. I love how he's walking through this like they're prepared, like it's going to happen. Yep. Oh, right in the head. Dad. That's so great. So great. Tabitha Short says, what's funny is when Sydney comes out of the closet with the costume on, she's wearing tennis shoes, but then she's back to wearing her black boots. Definitely wasn't her in the closet. Really? I didn't notice that. Tabitha, you are on fire tonight. Noticing all these little juicy details. Good for you, man. That's awesome. I didn't notice that. But you're right. Yeah, no, I mean, she's not wearing tennis shoes at all. She's got those black sort of heels on. And this right here, like it's this crane shot. We're coming up. It's probably on a jib, just a big arm. And we see that, and that's it. Like it doesn't set it up for a sequel. It just kind of ends right there. It's a tight movie. It's locked. Great little horror film. Fun, creepy, just like it's like a whodunit. Who can you trust? It's good. Didn't need a sequel at all. Did not need a sequel at all. Of course, the one last little thing there. Directed by Wes Craven, ladies and gentlemen. Written by Kevin Williamson. Folks, that was 1996's Scream. Darren says, isn't it the Ready or Not directors that are going to do Scream 5? That's the only thing that gives me hope. Yes, they are. Apparently, they are doing Scream 5. So it'll be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to go or what have you, but it definitely will be interesting to see when more information comes out. And it's slated to come out next year. So, again, the only returning cast member that's been confirmed is David Arquette. Oh, no. Wait, can you hear me? I think you can hear me. I think I'm back. Wait, I know you can probably hear my audio, but probably not my video. 1 second here. Let me, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's all right. No worries. Let's get my little video back so I can you can see me and I can say goodbye to you guys. Not sure what the heck happened there. Oh, what happened? Where am I? I don't know. They knocked me out. They did. I'm not sure what's going on. Even the camera is not working. Let me go to my other camera and see if that works. No, that's not working either. What the heck is going on? That's so weird. Oh my goodness. Something happened. Something happened. Well, you can definitely hear me, and that's the good thing. So maybe I will leave it there for tonight because I don't want to spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure out what's going on with my camera. But hey, listen, guys, that was a lot of fun. You guys are amazing. I will definitely, I just thought that, what the heck am I trying to say here? I'm looking at the screen here, trying to pick up two things at once here. Dave's mishaps are better than this end title song. Darren, my man. So I will be back definitely Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. We're watching The Ring on Monday night. And, like I always say, maybe I'll have a standalone video. You never know. But you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your continued support each and every month. Of course, as I always say, it really does mean a lot. It keeps these shows going. And you know what? Darren, Dia, Clan, try to think of another sort of theme for next month's Saturday movie night, and feel free to post about it in the Facebook section and all that kind of jazz, or in the Facebook group, I should say. And because I like when you guys do that, because you guys come up with some good ideas. So anyway, that is going to do it for me. That was Scream 1996. That was fun. Have a great rest of your Saturday night, guys, and I will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty. Cheers.